Let's take a look at creating a sample content calendar. Now, before you build your content calendar, there's a couple of prerequisites. So one is understanding your budget and how much you have to spend on your marketing. The next is to create the content that you want to share. Then sitting down and actually creating a schedule, which is what we're going to talk about today, and then launching your marketing. So those are all 4 of the steps of marketing planning. And I'm going to give you a sample marketing calendar that you can use. So let's take a look at this sample marketing calendar. What it has is the marketing activities, so the thing that you want to do, the channel, so how you're going to distribute the content, a description of that content, your call to action or your main message with that content, and then the cost. Now, what you're doing here is a very high-level draft of what you're planning to do over the course of a given time period. Now, this is just an example, and I used a Google Sheets template. So it's really simple and something that you can recreate, but there's tons of resources online that allow you to create marketing calendars and just plug in your information and go. So here, I have 2 examples. The first is a blog post, which is an inbound marketing strategy, and the second is purchasing ads, which is an outbound marketing strategy. So as you can see for both, I've broken down the channel that I want to use, and I'm a lot more specific than just the internet or Google. You want to be able to describe the channel you're using in a way that anybody that sees this calendar understands what they need to do to execute. You also want to give enough description so that, again, any outsider that's reading this calendar really understands what you're trying to achieve and what needs to be done. I've seen people use the description also as a task list, so maybe listing out the things that need to be done in order for this marketing activity to be launched. And then you also want to align on the messaging. So what's your call to action, as well as the cost? How much is this going to cost you? And then you can look at this calendar in its entirety and use it to actually measure, are you within budget or not? Now, once you've done those preliminary steps, the next thing to do is understand the scheduling. Now, in this case, I have 4 weeks marked here, and I'm organizing the information in terms of days of that week. So as you can see, maybe for a blog post, I'm only going to launch it 1 day, but for something like ads, I'm going to want it to run 7 days. So duration is another thing to call out in a calendar. And that also impacts your budget and the costs associated with your marketing activities. Now, again, this is just an example. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it or the only way to do it, but this is just one way that you can use to start to put your marketing strategy on paper and give it to your team in order to execute.